Alright, so Legendary's Godzilla actually did really good, so we need a Godzilla of our own. Anybody got any ideas?
I do.
54, what the heck are you doing here?
You said you needed a new Godzilla suit.
Yes, something new, not something that came out like 100 years ago. God, we need something fresh. Get this guy off the stage.
Why is he always so mean?
Yeah, he can be a dick sometimes. Alright, so we still need a Godzilla suit idea. I think we need something different. Something like kids like those remake movies nowadays, right? Like maybe we need something that's old, something classic. You mean like the original suit? Perfect. Hey Rangers, welcome to Super Important Reviews. My name's Steve, and today we're going over the Neca 12-inch long deluxe class Godzilla 1954. This is another release in the classic line, which everybody I hear is super excited about this action figure, as well as I am, because this guy is from the original Godzilla film. Looks fantastic inside of that packaging. Like, I can't wait to open this guy up. If you guys haven't seen this film, definitely go check it out, the quintessential Godzilla film. And it's also the inspiration for the new Godzilla suit that's coming out from Toho in 2016. So that's actually really cool and really awesome that this figure is actually coming out. So without further ado, for the packaging, I overall really love the packaging for this guy, especially since it's exactly the same as what we got with everybody, but with this good old Bandai 54 sitting in the background of that picture. Kind of makes sense with this guy, you know, because they're both 54s, so having that guy in the background isn't so bad. But I'd really like to see some of the other Godzillas actually be on the other packagings from now. Like if they release any more new Godzillas, maybe have that Godzilla's image in the background with the NECA figure or something. Just inputs, but overall works really good. Love the falling over buildings here behind the Godzilla name. You have the 54 in the back, Godzilla. Tells you who he is on the bottom of the packaging. Nothing on the sides of the packaging. And for the back of the packaging, just get an awesome profile shot of the figure inside of the packaging, his name, and some legal mumbo jumbo. So let's get this guy open up out of his plastic prison. Alright, so now that we have our Big G open up out of his plastic prison, first we got to attach his tail, which if you guys have any problems attaching this thing, just be sure to use a hairdryer or some hot water to soften the plastic at the top here. Does wonders. All you do is just stick it on the ball joint at the tip of the base of this stump tail. Then you just go at it straight in. Pretty easy to do. Now this one, it's pretty easy to get on, but still feels like it's actually going to hold in there really well, which is really nice. But after getting the tail in, this guy looks fan-freaking-tastic. Because overall, I love the details on this guy so far. Bringing him in for a closer look. Starting with the paint job for this guy is awesome. It's actually in a black and white color scheme where he has a lot of blacks and grays in his body. Dorsal spines are this more ashy color, which looks really nice. Then you have the more black color scheme for the inside base of the dorsal spines. Looks really good. Even the paint job on the tail here looks really nice as well. Pretty much comes all the way down to the base. A little bit of smearing in a couple of spots, but nothing that isn't forgivable. But starting with his head sculpt, looks awesome. You got his adorable little Godzilla ears. His eyes are actually painted very nicely, where you have these nice piercing white and black eyes, which just kind of peer into your soul. But they did an awesome job sculpting this head. Like even got his nice eyebrows here at the top. You can see the start of the dorsal spines coming up from the top and starting to go down the back of his neck. And then for his teeth, look freaking gnarly as well. Initially when I got him out, they looked kind of huge, but overall actually worked very well. Especially for, he pretty much is very reminiscent of the suit when you've seen it from faraway shots. I mean, not really any like the puppet close-up shots where he's like doing the weird neck movements. But he has some details here on the inside of his mouth for his tongue. Same with some here at the roof of the mouth, if you guys can see it. Looks really nice. And then you start moving down the rest of his body where it starts to actually remind me a lot more of the suit. Where like say with the Monster Arts line, we get a lot of more stylized looks where they make it look like it would actually look like a monster. Well, this guy actually kind of reminds me a little bit more of the X Plus line that we get, where it's more reminiscent of the actual suit that you'd see in the film. Because I love how, like, on the body here, you get a lot of these, like, weird little wrinkles and folds that you would see in the suit when it's moving around on screen. And it looks freaking sweet. And personally, I actually really like this look because him standing at a shelf, it's going to look exactly like how it did out of the film. And personally, like body-wise, NECA just knocked this out of the park. Like even on his arms have the really nice folds here as well, just like how you'd see it in the movie. Looks freaking awesome. Another thing to point out too is they brought back the hand hinges. Thank you, Neca. And then for our Godzilla's legs, he actually has some kneecaps where the base of his knee look like they're calloused over a wee bit. Looks really cool though, like it's very different compared to a lot of the other Godzilla 54s I got from Bandai where this actually really isn't a thing. But it looks pretty cool, it kind of gives him his own individual characteristics. His feet are freaking huge, but I love it. They actually help to hold him up very well. Even has a little bit of details here on the bottom of the feet. Got some peg holes here if you want to put this guy on a stand. And one thing I actually super love about this Godzilla is these dorsal spines, which on some of the other NECA releases, the spines look a little bit weird. Like I kind of wish like some of them were maybe a little bit bigger, like on the 84. But on this, they look awesome. Like they even have the right shapes for what you see in the movie. Grabbing the Bandai figure that accurately represents this. All the Bandai figures that the spines are very reminiscent of the film. It's definitely the American Bandai here, where you can see here we got the very kind of wonky looking patterns. And then grabbing our NECA one, pretty much in the same vein, which is really cool. Because this is exactly how they should be looking. Like you can see here, like this spine kind of matches this one right here. And then the one that's kind of bending back is a little bit more reminiscent of this spine right here. This one's just slightly different, but looks really good. And then they just don't really have very matching shapes, which I actually really love about this suit because there's not a very cohesive pattern with these dorsal spines. Kind of gives it a more natural look, at least in my opinion. The only major complaint I have about this entire figure is the tail here, which it's mainly the length of it. I would have liked to seen it a little bit longer, but keeping this guy in the 12-inch long line, it's understandable. But for the paint job here, it's just kind of a little bit weird on the tail here, personally. Because you can see here for his body, majority of it is this more ash color and dark blacks. Well, on the tail, it's primarily black, so just towards the end of the tail, you get a little bit of a color difference. It doesn't really show up very well when you mainly have this, but just me sitting here with a lot of this lighting here, it just shows up a little bit more. Like this side looks definitely a lot better than the other side over here. But overall, nothing too bad. It's just more of a minor nitpick than anything. And then for his articulation, head can look up about this far, down about yay far. His head can rotate all the way around. Same with the base and the neck here too. Can rotate all the way around. Has a little bit of a pivot here, so you can get him to move a little bit side to side. His mouth can go up and down. Looks really good. For his shoulders, can move up about that far, down about that far. Can rotate all the way around, so you get a decent amount of play there. At his elbow, can also rotate all the way around. It has a actually pretty nice bend to it, just a little bit stiff on mine still. Just gotta work that joint in a bit. For his hand, can also rotate all the way around. It's on a ball joint, so you can move it back and forth a little bit. And then for his hand is on this really nice hinge joint here, so you can actually get him looking like he's clamping onto things, which is really awesome. For his waist, can move a little bit side to side. Actually, by a little, I mean a whole heck of a lot. You can also, let's see, can you rotate all the way around? Yes, you can, buddy. Can also do a little bit of a downward crunch, and holy crap, that's actually pretty huge. Going back, for his legs, can move out about yay far and about that far. If you bring it forward though, you can go to about here, so you can still get your kaiju splits. Coming back around. Then his legs can also go about yay far back, so you can kind of get a little dancing moves going too. And then for his knee, can rotate all the way around. And then also has a really nice bend here as well. And for his feet, can rotate all the way around and around ball joints, so you can get a little bit of a pivot to them, and they can move a little bit forward and back. And finally for his tail, they're on their own little ball joints from here, 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 and here. And then the rest of this is a bendy tail, so you can actually pretty much just bend this however you want. But for the most part, this tail can move up about yay far without bending the tail, down about that far, and about that far to the left, and that far to the right. And for some quick comparison, here we have our NECA 1954 compared next to my Bandai Vinyl 54 of my two American ones and my Japanese release. And here he is with some of my Essex Monsters figure with the Heisei Godzilla second production run and the King Ghidorah. And here's some of the other 12-inch long Godzilla figures, which what I would consider was the best, the 2014 Godzilla, and the worst with the 84. And And here he is with a more scale-accurate representation with the 24-inch long Godzilla 2014 by Neca. And here is some of the Neca Pacific Rim action figures with Hong Kong Brawl Gypsy Danger and the Deluxe Flying Otachi. And just because I brought him up earlier, here is some X Plus Godzilla figures with the 55 and the 62. So overall, with the Neca 1954 Godzilla, I think they knocked it out of the park with this action figure. The details on it are amazing, the articulation's awesome, and I just love what they did with the figure and making it look more like how it did in the film and making it look like the suit and not trying to make it look like a actual Godzilla. Which I personally think kind of helps to differentiate this figure than if, say, a SH Monster Arts version was released of this figure, which would be more stylized to look actually like a monster. Well, this is exactly what I want to see, and it just represents Godzilla accurately from the film, and I think it's just what they need to be doing from now on, because previously with the other NECA releases, I would generally say that the SH Monster Arts figure was a better product overall. Can't really beat the NECA price, but I would generally try to sway people towards the SH Monster Arts line. But the SH Monster Arts line actually released a 54 Godzilla. I would probably actually still recommend this figure over it. Like, that's just how good this toy is. And I'm gonna say, he's probably my favorite Godzilla as of right now that they released. He's actually gonna be replacing the 24-inch long version, which I still love, but this guy is phenomenal. And he's definitely up there with my favorite NECA action figures in my collection. I think if you guys pick this guy up, you guys will fall in love with him too. So what do you guys think? Have you guys picked up the NECA 1954 Godzilla? You guys excited about the Toho Godzilla for 2016? Or is Legendary just more your thing? Please let us know in the comments. A little closer picture of this guy on Facebook. You want to click the link description below. Help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button. Subscribe to become a Ranger today, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.